Alright, so this time we're going to be going into Bryan Johnson's testing routine as a rejuvenation athlete. So this one is one that I'm kind of particularly interested in because a lot of the issues that I've had with Bryan's videos so far is that he'll vaguely gesture at the idea that what he's doing is evidence-based or scientific. And then the reality, of course, is just that he kind of throws out some real vague, this thing does that thing, and he never backs it up. And he never really provides any real understanding of a bigger system or anything like that. And so it's very hard to actually analyze or assess the things that he's saying because it just mostly sounds like gibberish. And so this video, it's only 5 minutes long, so I'm already feeling a little bit apprehensive that maybe he's not really going to deliver. Hopefully this is where he reveals how it all gets made, I guess. The real method behind the madness.
We all find ourselves on this planet, and we're conscious. None of us asked for this situation to happen. We're just here. So now we have to decide, what are we going to do with it? I would like to pose a question, if we deeply contemplated the future of our species in the biggest terms possible. We asked, wouldn't it be amazing if we could be more?
Alright, so we're 30 seconds into this 5-minute long video, right? Which is 1/10 of the total runtime. And so far, all it was him just being what if human beings could be better? And that's the entirety of the 30 seconds so far. So I don't have hopes for this at this point, actually, already. He's kind of already set the tone. We'll see how it goes.
Today is Testing Tuesday. We are doing, I think, about a dozen different tests. So we've been doing this for 2 years of measurement to scientific evidence to protocol, back and forth, and it's what's produced 50 perfect biomarkers.
I don't quite get this circle that he's doing. Measurement to evidence to protocol. So he's saying I do some tests, that gives me some data. I guess I decide from that whether or not something is actually working, and therefore what I'm changing about my approach or my routine or whatever. I guess that's kind of what he's trying to say. Not very clear on that. Bit of an odd way of putting it.
100 measurements that are less than my chronological age, perfect body fat and muscle, 24% slower rate of aging, and the epigenetic age reversal record. All of it is a product of the...
Again, it's very, what are you basing this on? You're just hey, I'm aging slower. What are the numbers? Where are you getting this? It's all very, who knows? And, just to be clear, Bryan Johnson looks about as much of a zombie as he always does. He looks emaciated. He looks pallid. Come up with new words. This man is corpus. Awful. None of it's good.
This process of measurement evidence protocol.
Sorry, hold up. I'm also looking at
age reversal record
behind him.
All of it is a...
And is that a shelf? What is that? I assume you were supposed to put stuff there. It's really serving r/male living spaces right now, where he's just he's got this weird combination of having a handful of things he clearly uses and then just empty space where he's not bothered to put anything. You can pay an interior designer put some doohickeys on the shelves, my man.
Good morning.
Let's get started.
As you get older, for men, this gets bigger.
Yeah.
This should stay the same.
I think it's the same ratio as my 17-year-old. On this one, I think I'm gonna win.
Is he here?
You know what? We should get him in here.
We should.
Okay, so she's correct. So hip to waist ratio is something that does tend to increase as we get older. We tend to lose muscle mass. We tend to put on more weight. So yes, that's true. Maintaining that, roughly the same is obviously a good thing. It means that your health is not, necessarily worsening in that over time. Again, none of that has anything to do with whether or not you're aging. That's very you're optimizing for, preventing one potential health risk. That doesn't mean that you're aging in reverse or anything like that. And it was very bizarre, comparing it to your son, just because you understand that just because you have the same hip to waist ratio as your son, that doesn't mean that you're magically 16 again or whatever, right? That's not how that works, Bryan. His weird obsession with being I want to be just like my son is so strange.
Really, this is really all about beating talent.
It's so weird. You need to talk to a specialist. You need to figure out what this weird obsession is with your son, Bryan.
As you get older, this number is going to be wider, right? Because you lose sensitivity. So a young person, this should be small. So you're going to tell me if you feel 1 or 2 points, okay?
Yeah. What was my previous score?
Really good.
This is one for the people at WikiFeet or Footpedia or whatever it is.
2. 1.
Perfect.
How'd you do?
I don't know.
You could get within 4 millimeters.
That's a lot better.
I know, that's really great.
Hey, Talmadge, I just put up some big, small numbers.
For what?
4.9 millimeter discretion on 2 points and feeling those at the bottom of my feet.
Sorry, I love that he's like this weird nerd who's just like, oh look, I did slightly better on this test, and Talmadge comes in just being like, what's going on? I don't know anything, because like that's like the average person. Like we are all Talmadge, just like coming in being like, what's going on? Weird.
If you did this on your grandpa, it'd probably be very well.
You'd be like, you touching my knee or my foot?
Oh yeah.
Oh.
Stay on.
Good.
Yeah, like there's validity to this in that as you get older, essentially, you have a worse sense of proprioception, which is essentially your body's ability to sort of judge where it is in space. And as a result, your movement quality tends to decrease. And this is why you see people who I've literally worked with in personal training, somebody who has, basically never worked out their entire life. They're in like their 70s. They literally could not tell the difference between like a bicep curl and a shoulder press because those, it's just like, like your brain is not connected to your muscles very well anymore. And so like, yes, like there's some validity to this, the idea that like you're doing some kind of nerve sensitivity testing to see like, again, just like how connected your brain is to everything. But it's like, it's one of those like, how do we know that like getting better at this test, what do we infer from that? Like, again, it doesn't necessarily mean that you've aged in reverse or that you're suddenly 16 again. Yes, it means that definitely, you could train to get better at this test, and you could, again, train to optimize for potentially specific health risks. But again, where's the evidence that this is making him age in reverse? Not really anything.
Start
Schedule.
to testing Tuesday.
All right.
Is that what it's called?
That's what we're
It's just
calling
a
it.
Wednesday.
But
Facts are irrelevant.
I love that. So I love it. Okay, so like he's like, oh yeah, we do this thing called Testing Tuesday, and Tom was just like, I've never heard of that. You don't do that. That's not real. That's just something you're making up for the camera. Also, it's Wednesday. Incredible. Tom was just like calling him out right now, and he's just like,
sorry,
Are you trying to get bigger?
I want to be like you. Yeah.
What are we doing?
How similar or dissimilar?
You're the same waist.
This is also an age test.
Okay, Clark Kent.
Yep.
You're gonna put this on your.
This process we're doing is I'm doing a lung rejuvenation protocol.
he didn't even say anything about what was going on with the eye testing or what that was about or what that was supposed to be doing. No information.
We use this ultrasound machine to measure my whole body, but specifically my lungs. I got COVID 3 months ago, and we found out that this one marker in my lungs, B lines, which are bad, B for bad, they increased by 118%. So add that. And so now we're trying to get rid of those B lines, and so we're doing a therapy. As part of the therapy, we are measuring what's called my QT interval, which is just looking at the health of my heart.
When the kids were young, I would tell them I have 2 hearts. In case one ever stops beating, I've got a backup.
No dad bod, but plenty of dad jokes.
I'm sorry to clarify. This man is like the peak example of dad bod. Like this man is if you took the concept of dad bod and you use some like arcane necromancy to turn it into a person. Like this is the peak epitome of a person who has a good physique later on in their life, and they think that means that they can act like they are younger than they actually are. Like that's 100% exactly what this man is. This man is dad bod.
Today's Testing Tuesday is going really well. So far, good to excellent results. Nothing that is in the negative zone, so good deal. Okay, going on here, I'm waiting for the results. I think I did well. Let's see.
And on the last test, On the right foot, you had 5.88, and on the left foot, you had 6.54.
Yes!
So you are much.
I don't think I've seen a person as excited as Bryan Johnson is to hear some random numbers in like my entire life. I don't know if I've ever actually seen a person be that genuinely excited about anything.
Better.
That's a big difference.
2 millimeters different.
Yes. So over the course of just a few months, I dramatically improved the level of sensitivity I have on the heel of my foot. And again, these are hard things to do. So I guess I'm a little bit less numb to life and a little bit more vibrant to life.
Otherwise, Testing Tuesday was a huge success. Sometimes these results go the other way. Today, they were all either perfect or exceptional. So, big win today for Testing Tuesday.
I don't know. Again, it's like I was expecting any kind of detailed system, any kind of real explanation for what he's doing. Again, he spent like a bunch of time being like hi, saying a bunch of gobbledygook about his whole thing. He does a little bit of time talking about his hip to waist ratio. Spends the most time talking about the nerve sensitivity testing thing, but doesn't really say much of anything about it. Eye testing, lung testing, none of it. He doesn't really give us anything. He again, it's just like a random mishmash of stuff that he's trying out. He thinks that if he throws around enough numbers, things work out. Things make sense. It doesn't really. It's all just gibberish to me. I mean, man, and this man really is a nerd for just like seeing some tiny numbers change slightly. Like he's so big on that. It's incredible. All right, well, have a good rest of your week. Smash that like button, that subscribe button, that notification bell. Share this video with anybody who hates Bryan Johnson, I guess. I will see you all next week. Have a good one.